Every transfer window, Arsene Wenger seems to be accused of being a tight arse, with Arsenal making minimal big money signings compared to their divisional rivals. However, we have seen the Gunners splash the cash on a few occasions, with Monaco midfielder Thomas Lemar the latest player to be linked with a mega bucks move to North London. With that in mind, let's look at the most expensive Arsenal 11 ever. In goal, it's Petr Cech. The safety helmet wearing goalkeeper moved to the Emirates for £11 million when Jose Mourinho was forced to let go of the man who had served Chelsea so well for over a decade. When Cech arrived at Arsenal 2 years ago, he was billed as the man to re-galvanise the Gunners and drive them back towards the Premier League title. Instead, Arsenal have seemingly gone backwards, but I don't think that's the fault of Cech's safe hands and head. At right back, it's Mathieu Debuchy. The French fullback got exactly what he wanted in 2014, when his performances at Newcastle got him the move to a Champions League club that he craved, and Arsenal paid the Magpies £12 million after Debuchy successfully used his time in the North East as a stepping stone. Since moving to North London, Debuchy's career has dropped like a stone, making just 13 Premier League appearances in 3 seasons, and the Frenchman will probably leave Arsenal this summer. Centre back is Callum Chambers. A lot of heads were turned in 2014 when Arsenal agreed a deal worth up to £16 million for Callum Chambers. The youngster had done well as a right back at Southampton, but no one saw Wenger shelling out on the Englishman, let alone start playing him as a centre back. Chambers spent last season on loan at Middlesbrough and is currently linked with a move to Crystal Palace. Another not so solid investment, it seems. Next up, it's Shkodran Mustafi. The first player in this team who Wenger spent real serious money on, not like the pocket change spent on the previous 3 players, Mustafi moved to the Premier League last season, costing Arsenal £35 million from Valencia in a transfer saga that appeared to rumble on for weeks, with Arsenal unwilling to match Valencia's asking price. Eventually, Wenger would bite the bullet, with Mustafi the latest man who would seemingly help bring the title back to Arsenal, but alas, no. There's a recurring theme here. At left back we've got Giovanni van Bronckhorst. We're slightly cheating here. When the Dutchman moved to Arsenal from Rangers in 2001 for £8.5 million, Gio was a midfielder, but would be transformed into a left back when he joined Barcelona. And since this team is all about money, the current Feyenoord boss gets in ahead of Nacho Monreal, whose move to Arsenal was valued at £8.3 million. Although he has actually played as a left back for Arsenal, so I'll let you argue amongst yourselves in the comments below. Moving on. Out wide we've got Alexis Sanchez. The Chilean is proof that your most expensive player isn't necessarily your best player, with Arsenal paying Barcelona up to £35 million for the man who is right now streets ahead of anyone else in the Arsenal team. Sanchez has single-handedly carried the Gunners at times, with last season being his best in terms of goals scored in his career. With the forward embroiled in a contract dispute at the Emirates, Arsenal need to do whatever they can to keep him. Give him all the money, let him play all the positions, hell, give him Mathieu Debuchy just to have around the house, cook his tea and stuff. Not in like a slavery way. In the middle of midfield it's Granit Xhaka. The Swiss midfielder was the Gunners' other marquee signing alongside Shkodran Mustafi last season, with Xhaka leaving Borussia Mönchengladbach for a fee between £30 million and £35 million. Was he worth it? Let's look at it in 2 ways. He was a hell of a lot better than Moussa Sissoko, who cost rivals Tottenham £30 million, but he couldn't lace N'Golo Kante's really small boots, who also cost Chelsea £30 million. A man who's a big fan of the mantra, get them hit and let them know they're in a game, Xhaka probably didn't live up to expectations last season, although Arsenal fans will tell you he was their best player behind Sanchez, but that's not saying much, is it? He's alongside Mesut Ozil. Arsenal's former record signing, it came as a huge surprise when Mesut Ozil left Real Madrid to join Arsenal in a £42.5 million deal. Why were Real Madrid willing to let him go? How on earth did Arsenal manage to get him? And who knew Arsene Wenger had it in him to spend more than £30 million on a player? Ever since arriving, Ozil has been polarising, with his effortless approach dividing opinion. One thing we can all agree on is though, it's scary how much he looks like Flick from Disney's 1998 film A Bug's Life. On the left hand side it's Jose Antonio Reyes. A member of Arsenal's Invincibles, it seems like a lifetime ago since Arsenal signed Jose Reyes, okay 13 years ago, but it still remains one of their most expensive ever signings. In January 2004, Reyes moved to Arsenal from Sevilla, costing an initial £10.5 million, which rose to £17 million. Was the Spaniard a hit? Nope, he's bullied for being too soft and kicked to bits by the traditionalists such as Gary Neville. Reyes returned to Spain in 2006 and has been there ever since, if you ignore a 1-year loan spell at Benfica, having played for Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Sevilla and Espanyol. Up front we've got Alexander Lacazette. The most expensive player in Arsenal's history, the striker moved to the club this summer from Lyon for an initial £46.5 million, plus another £7 million in add-ons. Finally Arsenal have signed the striker they've been craving, but Lacazette may have arrived 2 years too late. But we'll see. Arsenal fans are probably just happy they won't have to suffer the pain of watching Theo Walcott play up front. And finally it's Lucas Perez. Let's be honest here, Lucas Perez has been treated like absolute garbage by Arsenal, a piece of trash that would look more at home in the local tip rather than on a Premier League pitch. The Spaniard cost £17.1 million from Deportivo last summer, and who knows if he was worth it, the poor lad never played. Making just 11 Premier League appearances last season, Perez scored 1 goal, and now he's had his number 9 shirt taken away from him because Arsenal have bought a more expensive toy from France that they'd much rather play with. It's not fair and something needs to be done. Justice for Perez. We're starting the campaign here. We can get Lucas Perez the justice he deserves. Somehow. So there it is. Arsenal's most expensive 11 ever, costing more than £250 million. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And check out our newest channel, HITC 7s.